Uh-oh, Schnooky's the first one in the chat today. Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Even though the market is closed, we can see that the futures are making some moves around, and so we can put up those expected moves for Tuesday. These are the expected move for Tuesday, not Monday, so just keep that in mind. But I just wanted you to be able to pay attention to this. And right now, what we're going to do for today's video is just say, hey, we're going to mainly look at if some new subscribers are here today. All you have to do is subscribe during this video, and then we'll look at a full breakdown for any stock that you would like us to look at this point. We'll kind of show a little full breakdown for all those people with a little goal of 20. So if you want to help out some new people come in and so we can look around at some stocks today as the market is overall closed, well, you might want to hit the like button on this video so that we can spread this thing out, show some people what's up, and we can look at some stocks for some new people out there. I think that'd be fantastic. But obviously, if you guys want to look at something, I think that's great as well. So Noah, you're already saying, hey, I want to look at Google. What the heck is going on with this thing? And we're going to really treat this as an individual name kind of deal. Now, one thing you notice about Google in this area is it's reacting to a great level. On a 30-minute, this is going to look good, right? Now, we're not doing a full breakdown here, but I will give you what I see in front of me here. This is good to react to these type of levels and see that want to maybe pile up for a sec. So we'll look at that 30-minute. But if you really look at the 2-hour here, you're going, okay, the 5-day moving average is right here. Quick note before we fully get into this. The 5-day moving average, if you have taken the course, if you got the course during that sale, if you've had the course for a long time, I did put up that short video just telling you how to put up the 5-day moving average. I kept making a video of how to utilize it, but it ended up more confusing than anything. So overall, we're just treating it as, hey, this is a great line to kind of track the price action with you. You'll get reactions off of this, this blue line here a lot of the time. So we did just put a video in the additional information section at the bottom of the course to tell you just like, hey, here's how to get it on your chart. Here's how to edit it so that it's a 5-day moving average, even on shorter time frames. So just so you're aware, that is there. And if you already bought the course, there is no extra charge there. So it is completely open to you, right? You have that access. But for this video, we just noticed that, for Google, we actually noticed that the buying pressure still isn't very good. You need that to take back that 5 to really feel confident, right? Be able to go to higher levels where you can make more structure, maybe get that reaction off of this 5 coming up like this. If you can get this type of thing to happen, that would be a good sign, in my opinion. I think that's how Google overall wants to break to the upside. But if the 2-hour cross is right here, you see how that's a bad thing. You see the positioning of your MACD right now is in negative territory. Yes, it is crossed up. If that continues to go and go positive, hey, that can keep going. But if this wants to turn down, we might end up testing that 182.59 first, right? 182.59 was where that real big, I would say the lowest point where gap resistance is definitely coming in. So I do like that because we had previous resistances in that zone. So even this wick right here is in a zone right now. And so it would make sense to bounce from. And that's probably why you're paying attention to 30-minute divergences, right? You have a ton of 30-minute divergences all across this thing. You can see it on your MACD. You can see it on your RSI, that 30 minutes able to go positive. The problem is now, the problem is right here. This 30-minute, what you want to happen here is you want that thing to extend and go higher up, right? I want this MACD to extend like this, go higher above to these type of areas here, right? Support zone, maybe becoming resistance, right? So we're paying attention to it and we're going, okay, but the positioning of the MACD is kind of ruined now. Because if the 30-minute crosses here, and then you're like, okay, the 2 hours negative as well, we're below the 5, it really looks like we want to take out this low and go make a new one, doesn't it? But if this MACD would have extended, aka the price action would have got to here, right? You would have seen that MACD up at higher levels, and then you'd be just going, okay, that's high up enough. That's not very close to the center line. That's a pullback most likely. And you'd be above the 5 coming up. So you would see that retest of the 5 and then maybe see that breakthrough and you could see the structure. Do you understand? Do you see what I'm getting at here with Google? And the reason I'm looking at it very extensively and trying to be like, these are key things that I think understanding and how a stock moves, it's very, very nice. But you want to be paying attention to this because I believe we could go either way with this. I think that stocks being this low are vulnerable, and yes, they're showing reversal signals, so they need some good news behind them at this point because I think negative narratives for Google have taken over. So if we really just want to clear it up though, right? You want the simple breakdown. It's like, I don't want this 30 minutes to cross down. That's it, right? I don't want this 30 minutes to confirm down. That's either saying, hey, I'm going to reach down for a higher low, right? If that's going to be quick, or that's going to cross down the 2 hour and you're going to end up at lower levels. And you might not be wrong. You just might be wrong right now. So if this curls down, you might be wrong for the time being, but you might be right in the future, right? So we'll pay attention to it. I just think you have to be a little bit worried about things like Google, because it does have those big divergences above it on the daily scale. But is this the big corrective move it needed to then turn back up? So that's what we're kind of seeing. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of that big move from Nvidia. Then we kind of drop out. And then you saw those wicks above too that really faked people out. So this area up in here proven to be a problem. So if you do this, and then you can curl down pretty much at any point, right? This is still a negative MACD. This still has to break through those levels and most likely do some kind of cup and handling up at higher levels to keep going positive. So you just really want to be like, okay, this is a vulnerable spot. There's reversal signals, so I'm going to follow those, right? I trust my charts. But if those start to fail, I need to be ready to react. I wanted to give you a good extensive one, Noah. I hope you enjoyed it. Because I think that was a great, I mean, Google's just a great one to be paying attention to. Share copy button also boost the algorithm without sharing your channel. Ooh, I like that. Look within. I like it. Can we look at Rocket Lab, RKLB? They have been consolidating. Okay, good. I like some consolidation. Let's go look at that real quick. And Noah, thank you for being here. Just do me a favor, Noah, if you could. I'm sure you already have, but hey, let's get some new people in here, right? Let's try to like this stream. We have 50, I see 51 viewers. Can we get 51 likes? You know, let's really just be on top of it today and try to get some new people in here, because I think we're maybe even walking into something bad in the next couple of weeks. It could be on Tuesday alone, so we'll see. I kind of doubt it'll be Tuesday. I think we'll probably see some upward moves with the shortened trading week. All right, Rocket Lab for the most part looks pretty good, right? I'm not complaining about this at all. This does look like a fight, right? What is consolidation, right? People have asked me that before. I mean, what is consolidation to you? How would you describe consolidation, if you will? And who asked the question? VO, why don't you describe? What do you think consolidation overall is? If you could just give me that real quick. I just wanted to know. I just want to know what your thinking is towards it. Okay. Now, the daily is what I want to be watching here. The daily is going to be very serious to watch, because the shorter time frames, you're getting this. You're getting consolidation, right? So to me, if you're typing your answer, please type it out if you have a quick like definition, if you will, in your own brain of what you think is consolidation or what it really is. If you put it into words, I think it is a battle between bulls and bears. I think it is a battle between bulls and bears, where bears are attempting to take control, but bulls are able to hold the stock up high enough. And then if you see a break in that upward direction, well, then that positive trend can continue. So I believe that it is overall a fight between bulls and bears, and that's why you get price action like this that ends up being very choppy, right? So what we notice is we have these two low points. What I want to do is look at an hourly first. This shorter time frame might help me out. I don't think it will. Okay, so this is why I wanted to check, because these are very tight in here. So you wanted to see if there was some divergence point, but you don't really see that on your MACD or RSI right now. So that's not going to be helpful to you, right? This would say, hey, there is no real divergences here right now. Okay, so that's one thing to consider. You're below a 5-day moving average. So if this hourly crosses, just be aware you might be taking out a key level and heading down to fill a gap, right? You want to treat curl downs below the 5-day very seriously in this area. And notice it's been very, very choppy at doing so. But that's a good sign, because buyers are holding the stock up every time it goes through a rejection, and that's okay. But I want a really good confirmation here. So I'm going to probably be looking at, if the 4 hours already crossed, no, okay. So what I'd be looking for is the 4 hour to give me that confirmation. I think I would be looking for the 4-hour to give me that confirmation here. Really show me that good positive green bar that closes like this, and maybe it just looks like that, right? Nice green bar like that closes on the 4-hour, curls up into positive territory. And if the 4-hour is able to give me that hit before the daily crosses up, the daily is going to be the most important part, though. I'm just talking about, like, me as a trader. I like to take that trade a little early, maybe on a 4-hour, and then manage that trade if it goes wrong, but then see if, hey, if that doesn't go wrong and that curls up the daily, well, now we're breaking through, then we're consolidating, then we're going again, or we're retesting, right? We break through these levels, we get that retest, and then we can go off to the races. That would be a great thing. So these are all things to react to. A lot of people sometimes are annoyed with me because I kind of talk into the future a little bit, right? I think that talking about the price action that's already happened is a very easy thing to do. I can easily tell you, oh, this is consolidating and could break down because it has divergence, or it could break up because it's consolidated for a bit, right? That's a very basic understanding. What I want to do is be like, okay, what are the actual things that will cross up that will give me a hint if this has a good probability to make an upward move? I think that's a 4-hour confirming to the upside. We can look at Dogecoin. I'm so down. I think the most likely thing to happen for the SPY is that it's going to go up short, then make some kind of bull trap. That's kind of what I'm thinking. The SPX, I mean, if you're looking at this stuff, what I'm thinking is it probably is going to be an upward move. I really think you need to see that slight pullback first and then see that next upward move. I think that would be fantastic. If we just want to see it, that's okay. Like, I'm not going to bat my eyes at it too much. But the only reason I'm thinking we at least need to see that pullback is just because of how volatility is looking. If we go look at volatility, it can get a small reaction here, right? But overall, this has been holding this floor really well. Look, all the way back to December, right? All the way back to 2024, we've held volatility above these levels for all of 2025 so far. Isn't that crazy? Ever since the day after Christmas was the last time we hit these levels, and then we continue to see support come in at these levels. So if we're going to get some kind of reaction here, you would hope that would be lackluster and then end up failing. But the problem is you got divergence beneath you, you got divergence on the RSI beneath you, and the MACD at the same time. We obviously see that. So if this 2-hour were to curl up, if we're going to use this as support again, like we have for going on to almost 2 months straight now, well, then if this curls up, I would be worried that the daily could curl up and we could see some massive volatility come in. So instead, I'm hoping that's lackluster, right? Curls up, fails, right? That's what I'm hoping if I want this to continue to be bullish. So the only thing that's really worrying me early on, or at least over next week, is going to be Tuesday. That's weird. It's weird to say, but it's literally Tuesday. That could be a bad thing. So if volatility doesn't get that reaction, I think it's going to 12.12. Let's go look at Dogecoin, by the way. I'm down to look at Dogecoin. And I'm sorry, but I know we're asking about Microsoft Doc. I'll get to that in a moment. I'll actually look at the Doge. Which one? This is the one I like. Doge on these. Well, the first thing I want to do as I'm looking at a crypto is I'm not going to sit there and pay attention to a 15, a 5, a 30-minute, an hourly. I'm not even going to pay attention to an hourly. I'm going to watch a 2-hour, I'm going to watch the 4-hour, and I'm going to watch the daily. Right? This is where I've thought about making a whole big crypto video. Oh, SH33, I see you. Benner cycle? I think I've heard of it, but I'd probably have to look into it again. I don't have a photographic memory, unfortunately. But I will take a look at it if you think it's interesting. What's it saying right now? Okay, look within. What's it saying? So for Doge, like, something very key here is a lot of people are probably going to say this, right? They're going to say this type of thing, which is fine. But overall, what am I paying attention to? Are we in an upward move and we're seeing a pullback? How am I reading into this right now? That's the big thing. And right now, you have to read into the fact that on the 2-hour chart, the shortest chart I like to look at, we are down in negative territory now. So the problem that could pop up here is there could be some kind of lackluster move, and then that could create a lower high. Now, if that's not going to create a lower high, you need that 2-hour to curl up. So I'm not saying this can't do that, right? It's close enough to positive. It's just you have to be worried that that move could fail. The other thing I would really be looking at is the 4-hour chart. I think the 4-hour is the best example here of what Doge is most likely to do. And I think that this has never curled down on this MACD and has made a series of higher lows. What is this right now? This could be the next higher low, right? So if this is going to be the next higher low, or really for the 4 hour, maybe even the first significant higher low, then this could be a good move. And look where the 4 hours position, right by the center line. So if I see a bar that takes me above here, I see that cross up on the RSI, I see the price action confirm that bar on a 4 hour chart, then I would say Doge has a good shot to test these highs or go make a new one. And since you've ramped up in this area for a while, you can kind of get that slingshot type of move. It's like, oh, we dip down, we're gaining speed. All right, we go up, you fall back down, bounce off the trampoline, right? So Doge, I think, doesn't look bad here, if you can't tell. Now, there are some things that would be worrisome, right? If those 2 hours confirm up and confirm back down, but on the daily, you're just going, does this look that bad? No. Does it have reversal signals? No. But it's overall been just kind of in that like slight downtrend. Big flag. Downtrend. All right. If this makes another flag and breaks down, right? If the daily crosses, that's bad. You're probably going lower. You're probably going to 16 cents. But it hasn't done that yet. It's actually showing structure on the shorter time frames, I think, that want to go that way, which means the level I'd pay attention to for a retest is 31.6. 31.6, I'd say right here. So this is where I think the ultimately will end up testing. If we can get above that, and I know it says 31.50. Let's see if we can find the exact point here that I like. I'm gonna take it right underneath all these bars maybe, but yeah, we're gonna do that. I think 0.311 is pretty much a good one. Oh, nice, okay. What's it saying right now? Sorry. Please research it, you'll see it immediately. Okay, I'll take a look. Let me see, what's it called again? Benner cycle, that's right. I'll try to take a look off stream, but I'll take a look at that. Okay, a lot of stuff popping up for it, so that's always good. All right, what's another one we're looking at? No, you're good, look within. No, you're not derailing anything. No, you're perfectly fine, dude. If you, like I said, it's just it's a community to put out things that you see as helpful, and I'll check it out, and if I think it's helpful too, yeah, we'll shout it out. Maybe someone else can go look at it right now, and maybe they'll find it helpful, so I'm not worried about that at all. Now, Doc, if Doc is still here, I'd like to go look at Microsoft, because Microsoft's another really interesting one I think we need to be watching. Microsoft showing a ton of 2 hour divergence, but notice it's almost like that squeeze behavior, so all you have to do is confirm down, and that's bad. But this one on the 30-minute, you just see it's just divergence all across it. It's just really, really messy at this moment. Hard to get that like confirmation, like, oh yes, this is great. So what do you want to do in those situations where a 30 minutes real choppy like this, but it's still holding all the divergence points, right? When do I make that decision? Well, there's two ways to look at it. On the 30-minute, the way to look at it is scaling in as the MACD is towards that center line. You are much more likely to see that upward reaction once the MACD is really close to that center line, aka like now would be a good time potentially to scale in as we make those divergences really close to that center line. Not necessarily like down in here might not have been the best, right? Because it was very wonky. Again, you see an upward move, comes down, still holds and makes that new divergence point really. So new divergence point here. So these opportunities in here were kind of a struggle, but now as you're close to that center line, that's good. The other thing that you can do is just blow up the time frame and look at the price action, right? If I see a 2 hour, right, a bigger time frame, go like this, see a solid move and confirm above that 5, it's very likely that you're going to head probably to a weekly expected move or something like that. So this is where weekly expected moves really do help, right? And having this 5-day moving average on your chart helps as well. So once again, if you did buy the course, right, if you've had the course for a long time or you just got it maybe last month, the 5-day moving average video, how to get that on your chart, is up on the course right now in the bottom section of the course. Just want to make people very aware of that. So if you've already purchased the course, you get it completely right. It's there for you. You own it. Look within wanting to share that with everyone. I think it's great. If you think it's helpful and you want to share that with like other people, I think that's great. I would just explain, maybe even in the chat, you can explain a few ways that you find it helpful. Microsoft's a great one to look at. Let's look at Grab for SH3. Grab. All right, interesting one. Very choppy one, very choppy one. Earnings coming up, that's a problem right away. So Thursday this week, you'll get earnings. So immediately, it's gonna end up being a 50-50 flip unless we see some kind of divergence or some kind of golden setup, I would say. And I don't really see, not really divergence, by the way, more golden setup, right? The only time I really pay attention to earnings is if I see the golden setup, right? We've talked about Apple. But here, you're in a funky spot. You almost look like you got too excited and you're making that right shoulder that could have been at this level. So that's one. But two, if earnings is bad and you cross over this daily, you're just looking for another, negative trend move down. This was overall just the first negative trend move this whole time, right? So I'd want to see maybe even where that goes negative and say, okay, we could probably experience a drop from, let's see, breakdown to here. So if we break down from here, right, I'm just taking a messy measurement, we could go down to $4. So if the daily crosses, I think you're going to end up at that 200 real quick, and you have a nice block in there to potentially hold you up. But I just be cautious, right, because of that E. So I won't be looking, I wouldn't be looking at this one. I think it's difficult around earnings to do option plays and stuff. If you're an investor, it's a totally different story. It'll be interesting to see if, actually, we can publish those right now. Let me publish those right now to Patreon so you can get them on your charts while we're talking. All right. Let's get those up. 2 seconds tick-ish. All right, let's do this. Yeah, I already got them calculated. You know me. You know me, I like to do my Sunday calculations. What is this week? It is technically the 18th through what? The 21st? Alrighty. Let's get those out to you guys. All right, so Patreon members, we have just submitted the weekly expected moves. I am going to pin that to the top as well, just so you guys can see it right at the top there. One thing that was interesting to me was GME's range. GME's range was very interesting to me. So yeah, I think you got to be cautious with this guy, though. You got to be cautious around that earnings. I don't think you have solidified, like, hey, yeah, this is... Actually, you haven't solidified anything because of the earnings. After earnings, we can talk about this one a little bit more. But before earnings, we're just like, hey, that could see an up or down move in the next couple of days, and then earnings is going to do what earnings does, and that's the big problem. A year or two, then we will be in a bear market until 2033. Damn, so that's not like big long plays. Thank you, just received them. Awesome, Bernie, awesome. And thank you, Samson, for bringing it up, because that's perfect timing. Yeah, we want people to have those while we're talking about this stuff. Really got to zoom out on this one. Okay, let's zoom out on it then. Let's look at a weekly. Yeah, you potentially, like, this actually would not be bad for even the weekly scale to see it drop here with earnings. Like, now I'm saying what I think would be a great opportunity, right? A great opportunity, I think, would be to retest all of this, right? Reach down to those levels. And Sebring, thank you so much, Sabringi. Thanks so much for joining us today. We see resistance, 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 almost again, resistance, resistance, and then we break through. So I would love for 389. I think 389, let me hold this across, or even jump down to 373. 373 is probably the number that looks pretty good. I'm going to mark that off and see if we ever get back to there. But for a weekly pullback, this would be pretty good, right? And this wouldn't be a bad thing. Right, the weekly drops down, we drop down like this. Maybe we hold up before there, right? Maybe there's something in here. Maybe not, right? Maybe we go a little bit lower. And thank you again, we finally got a subscriber. Look at that, 5% popping up at the top of the screen. But if this wants to make that move down, we can see if it's just gonna be like ABC instead of measuring it all funny. We can just go like this and go, okay, so something like $4 probably makes the most sense. But yeah, I think the easier trade setup is like this sees a bad earnings, everyone says it's bad, and then it just curls up on a weekly or something like that from 372. That way your MACD is really down lower for a few weeks there, and then it just curls up, and maybe you see some daily signals in there, 2-hour signals in there. I think that would be the best setup for an opportunity. But you notice it's seeing positivity and it has earnings, so it's kind of a wild card this week. Oh, IRS, you're talking about the market cycle predictors. Yeah, the IRS. The IRS. the IRS, who's about to lose 15,000 employees. Yikes. You meant to write it's? Okay. I was like, the IRS is going to tell you exactly how things are going to be to help out the average American. Yeah, the IRS is going to give some helpful info. Oh, God. Get fired. Research it for yourself. No, I'll research it. Look within. I'll look at it. I think they were just confused because you said IRS instead of it's. But I believe it. I believe it because one of those scenarios we talked about, by the way, was the SPY. Well, we'll do SPX 500 today, but one of those scenarios we talked about was this just leading into a correction, and then we end up seeing upside into 2026. Potentially seeing big upside into 2026, and then you see something bad around that time. So 2026 was another scenario to pay attention to at this point, just because of how stocks have behaved lately. But I still would just be worried right now. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong with when they look into the IRS, when they look into the Pentagon, when they look into the SEC, when they look into the Fed. There's so many things, financial info that could be given out that we just don't even know how bad or good something might be. So that's the worrisome thing over the next few weeks. But if nothing comes out, nothing's affected, and you just see a MACD curl up, it's probably going up. Like, just so you're aware. You might get a ton of bad news and see something curl up and be like, oh, well, all right, we have divergence and that curled up, so it looks like we're going up. Is because the chart says up to me, but some big names are selling the SPY and the S&P. That's true. Yeah, you're right to point it out. But just because some big names sell it doesn't mean someone else doesn't have the liquidity to push it higher, or enough people make a decision to push it higher, right? What we're saying and what you're overall suggesting is like, hey, these smart people are out now, but when smart people are out now, does that mean dumb people are immediately out? You know, I mean, they're called dumb. It's called dumb money almost for a reason, right? So if dumb money pushes it higher, I don't even think it's dumb money. I think it's some smart money too pushing this market higher. Is the grab hype justified? I mean, I don't really care if something's justified. I care if people are buying it. I care if it's confirming up and telling me momentum is behind it. That's what I care about. If the hype is real, then I should see a big move, right? But I need a confirmation from a 4-hour or a daily chart for grab. Geometry and numerology. I think about practices, numerology and geometry. That's a hint. Interesting. Remind me of the guys who swear by Elliott wave timing. No. No, I trust that momentum will tell me if this thing's going to drop. Yeah, I'm not an Elliott wave guy. I am like a, hey, there's a 3 push, there's a 5 push kind of thing. But for now, I'm just like, hey, let me just follow the signals, right? That's what I've done for a long time, and that's all I really do. Oh, okay. Carter's like, not you. I was like, Elliott wave. I was like, if I'm your Elliott wave guy, you're screwed. Everyone on the hunt for the next Palantir? Well, I mean, I kind of wanted to check this. Like, is this a short squeeze? It could, or at least, like, could we get a hint that it could be? I mean, that's a pretty good amount. And when did that happen? That happened on February 4th. February 4th. Yeah, so that might have been a big cover. That actually might have been a cover because you ended up still going up. Yeah, that might have been one person covering. Someone might have covered a position on this. That's what that actually shows. If you look at GME, I think I said this over the weekend. I think I might have incorrectly stated something, so I just wanted to potentially clear that up. Let me see here. AMC short. Let's just check both of these real quick. Yeah, you see that actually went up from, what was that, February 7th it started to tick up. February 7th we started to get this little green in here, then we saw the explosive move. Let me see the explosive move here, but that's not big enough is the thing. I don't think that would be a cover. Yeah, the other one was like 40 million for Palantir. This is only about, what, 4? I don't think that's covering. GME might be a different story. And it's more just some, oh, that's actually a big deal. What did GME do on Friday, actually? Yeah, see the big downward pressure. So when you see that tick up and you see big downward pressure, it's kind of it could be someone covering and it's just funky on a Friday. But usually when it's in that downward direction, that means, hey, we're trying to force down the stock again, especially when it's only 2.4 million. So most likely GME, at least reading into this, the most likely thing this would say at this point, till we see more price action on Tuesday, this would say that GME is going to probably go fill that gap. Good try, Carter. I wish you luck. I hope it turns down for you, my man. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I noticed, Carter, as you talking in the chat to someone, but am I allowed to say my position? Oh yeah, you can shout out your positions, that's fine. We like you to, give why you think that though. We like more the why. I don't really, like saying the position's great, but the why behind it is a lot better in my opinion. So are you just like, I'm shorting it because it's high up? That's not something I really like. Oh, let's give you guys updated levels for AMC and GME, by the way. I don't know if we did that over the weekend. Yeah, I don't think we did. So let's go give you those right now. AMC, very key level to break through. We actually broke through it last week, and notice this. Last week it was at 350. This week it's perfectly lining up to $4. Every week it's just 50 cents. Something good here. I mean, you obviously see this, right? So this would be great. You've reacted to the great level. Even the wick got there. Like, this is all good, I think. I think that looks pretty good. And if you just see something simple like that, I think that would be great for AMC. But yeah, $4 exactly. If you can close above that, you're probably going to start to see margin calls or some kind of short covering or reapplication of shorts, some kind of short seller activity. For GME, you still have extremely low implied volatility, extremely low implied volatility. 2886, not 386. 2886, look at that. Look where it is, top of that bar. So this just to me adds a little bit of credibility to, yeah, this is most likely going to go fill that gap. I hope it doesn't, right? Just because I say that, I'm going to give you the truth. The truth is, based on what I'm reading into, I think the most probable thing is you're going to at least go fill that gap. If you don't, I'm happy. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if we don't go fill that gap and we see this thing squeeze, I am a happy man, all right? Yeah, top Bollinger as well. You are correct. AMC said Lulu to never get back to all-time highs. Maybe not. But it saw a over 10% run this week. So it doesn't mean you can't make money out of it if it has some of the problem in it. If it has some of the problem still in it, it's still probably going to see a run. Just so you're aware. Just shouting it out. And if you just see this little breakout right here, or this curl up of the MACD, and you took it, hey, you potentially are up 12% right now. That is a great thing to be. It is great to be up, even if you didn't do options. It is great to be up 12% in 4 days. There is still money to be made in the stock. That's what I would say. That's why I said I'm taking the option play down in these areas. The option play is back on, right? We said that about 2 weeks ago. Am I the most hopeful that AMC is gonna be the one that goes to tens of thousands of dollars like people are saying? No, but I think that it could get back to fair value for this stock, and I think fair value for this stock is somewhere around $14 right now. I think I said I usually say somewhere between $14 and $20. I think is what I say. I think that'd be fair value for it, and that's it. Just like let normal stock market behavior take care of it. Like let it be normal for once. Let no one be doing anything to it and let it get to the price it's supposed to be. Stop messing with the stock to push it down. Stop having people mess with it to push it up. Let it rebalance itself and get to where it's actually supposed to be, because the business side, you can't complain. Yeah, they have debt, but it has been improving, so their stock price should improve. You can't tell me that other companies that are seriously in debt that are worth hundreds of dollars per share. Like I don't understand, and I would rather, if the fair value of the stock is $4, well, let's stop messing with the stock and let it be $4. Right? Like let's get this stuff out. The problem is when you get that stuff out, you're probably going to see that there's the illegal activity, and you're probably going to see AMC shoot up to something like $20. And I'll be a happy man. Eat up a gorilla instead. Can we look at PayPal? Yeah, we can look at PayPal. I noticed a lot of people were like hating on this stock. Very interesting to me to be hating on PayPal. I think PayPal's pretty good overall. We were talking about weeklies a little while back. Now you do have major divergence at this high, so you had to be watching if that turned down. Of course it turns down with earnings. Unlucky. You're noticing that the weekly has turned down. It's still positive. I think it could go lower. I think a retest of 73 would be great. A retest of 67 would be great. Where is it right now? Well, it's at the bottom here. So something I'd be looking for is, does this 2-hour cross back down? If the 2-hour crosses back down, I don't have much hope for it. But right now it's trying to do good things, and it says our daily is going to try to make a move here. That's what it's saying, right? You have a bunch of rejection divergence. The only thing that tells you, hey, this is bad, is if the 2-hour crosses down. 2-hour, you start to see confirmations below here. It's very likely you're taking out this logo to make a new one. Maybe we'll watch out for real, like, you know, some actual visible divergence there, but we do see the rejections down here. We see that RSI pointing directly up. So that means I think PayPal does attempt to turn up the daily chart here. The problem is it's going to run into it could run into issues here. It could run into issues here. It could run into issues in this little area here. That was support, 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 right? There's probably a box in here that it needs to break through to see positivity. But it's probably, you know, with the positioning of the MACD, it's very likely, if that's a solid run, for that to fail. That's just how it is. Because you have resistance the whole way up, kind of like Nvidia. I just don't think Fib's that important. Like, I get why people pay attention to Fib, but it's overall, in my opinion, to have places to look at price in order to see a bounce, in order to see a trade setup. If I'm mistaken, please let me know, right? If people are just, you know, I'm sure there's someone out there that's just using Fib and just buying willy-nilly at certain prices because of cycles and these and, you know, Elliott wave and all this stuff. I just don't really care about that, right? If I did, what's a stock I don't look at or I don't draw on a bunch? FFIE, I guess. You know, if we go look at something like this and I pull up a weekly chart and I go, oh, that's headed way down or whatever, right? Is that really going to help me? And this is not a good stock to do this on. Let's do Netflix or something. It's like, okay, so if in this run right here, are Fibs really going to help me that much? Right? If I say, okay, this is an ABC from this low, we'll go to this high. All right, we can probably pull that across to see it a little bit better. Okay. Oh, look, my golden pocket really would have helped me. Right? You'll see me pop it up and see if a golden pocket's there. But most of the time, what is at this level? a weekly or a monthly expected move. So I just don't think it's like the most important thing. I think I would rather pay attention to weekly and monthly expected moves. But, you know, other people use these things. I used to use them a little bit more, but nowadays I'm just like, you know, I have weekly expected moves, and those help me, I think, a lot more than fib retracements for my style of trading. I guess that's the best way to put it. Not hating on it at all. At all. Not hating on it. But you'll only see me pull out a fib like maybe once or twice a week. Because I don't, and the best way that I explain it is like, I don't care where this curls up. I care where it gives me the signals to curl up, right? I do not care if this wanted to drop to here or it wanted to drop to here. I'm not buying it until I see signs that that is turning back around. That's why we were patient. That's why we kept buying and selling, buying, selling, buying, holding, selling. Right, we did all of that without one fib, so I just don't think for me it's the most necessary thing. I hope it is helpful to you, though. I think DAX needs to pull back very, very... I think DAX needs to pull back. I think DAX is in a worrisome spot here. No, it's just it's exploding, right? This is exploding on the daily chart. It is. I'm saying for new positions, I'm like, hell no. This is probably not going to end well. This is probably going to end very poorly. We'll see. But the DAX is very interesting because of, if you look at these previous times, we're on a weekly chart, so this is kind of fun. You had a divergence here that led to the big downfall, lower high, downfall again. The weirder thing to me is these next pushes where you see something seriously bad, you don't have divergence there. You actually have nothing at all, just a curl down at a higher point, so very tricky, and something awful happens. Then what do you see? You see the same thing, right? It's going up, something bad happens, right? In here, what do you notice? You actually had divergence. It actually held up better with divergence. Isn't that funny? So why am I talking about that? Well, because the situation you're in now, what are you in? Well, you're up, and you're up. So I would be a little sketched out by this. I think that it's exploding. I think it's great. But if I wasn't in here, if I wasn't in down here, right, with the daily cross up, if I at least wasn't in here with the breakout and the daily cross up and the retests, gosh, those are great. If I wasn't in those areas, then I'm not thinking of even getting in a position at all. I'm not thinking of putting $1 into that at this point as an investor. It's just not, I don't see the reward. And if you just want to take it into consideration very simply, we can do the simple method. Well, this is saying I'm in the unknown. That means we don't know what could happen next. Technically, it's like, okay, upside would be the most likely. But what's the risk? The risk is the reward is a question mark. The risk is that. Not all at once, but that's overall the risk, right? If we look at it very simply. Yeah, it's very simple though. So do I want my reward to be unknown? Is that helpful for me as a trader? No, that's not helpful at all, right? I need to know how much I can go up, how much I can go down. And a weekly expected move is definitely what you need to be trying to do with the DAX if you can. I was gonna say if the daily range is outside of the weekly on Friday, but not much, is it 68% to end the week in the daily or 68% to end in the weekly range? Okay, it's both. It's both. Those are two 68% zones. One of them might be wrong. They both might be right. I was in the DAX 3 months ago, but sold early. I'm sorry about that, Duranto. I feel your pain. Maximum risk, minimum reward. I bet you puts are well, it depends. It's squeezing probably, so their puts might not be that cheap actually if people are trying to short the damn thing. I'm a math professor. Well, hey, that's a good equation. Yeah, let me take a look in a sec, Varma. Make sure if you can, make sure if you're subscribing, Robert, you can shout out a stock, all right? We want to put those new people a little bit first, but we're still looking at stuff for our subscribers. We still appreciate you guys being here for a long time as well, so we'll still look at stocks for you. We just want you guys to maybe like the stream. That way we can see some new people get in here because we always get some good new questions. So I'm just going to move this real quick and act like the zone is something like that, right? We're just acting like this is outside of that area at this point. Now I'm going to readjust this in a moment, but let's just say it's outside of that area. And let's say price is here, right? Let's say the price is there. And let's say we have a range, right? We have a decent little range right here. All right, these are fake ranges, but we're outside of the weekly move right now. We're trying to help you out. Here we go. So on Friday, right? On Friday, that's where we have our 68%. So what is our 68% zone? Well, our 68% zone for that Friday, that week, is this. But our 68% zone for the day is this. So what I want to do is I want to highlight the area, right? Let's just highlight the area where both are satisfied. Well, that's very obvious, right? Anything below this weekly, above this weekly, and above this daily. So we have to be below both and above both. What area is that? That's right here. It's right here. So according to the stats, now you want to make sure to pay attention to signals. These are just stats, right? So they don't have to tell you exactly what's going to happen. They're just statistics. And it can put you in a better probability. That means that this price action right here, even if it made this move up early on in the day, by the end of the day, it's very likely to close right in this area. Right in this area right here. Because this is the overlap of both of your 68% zones. Right? Now, the other thing that Friday can really help you out with, or having a daily outside of a monthly move, or a weekly move, is it's great for taking profit. That's one. Because if you see that extension outside of here, it can be very confusing to know, like, hey, is that going to continue above the weekly? Oh, I have a red line there. Okay, so we could get all the way to here. Okay, awesome. That's where I take profit, right? I like to do it at both. I like to take some profit here, some profit there when it happens, if I can, unless the money's just good. But the other thing it can really help you with is just the fact that, hey, okay, do we have a chance this week of ending outside of the zone? Like, should I be open to that? I think I should be a little bit more open to it because if this red line wasn't here, this is a 32% area. But this red line is here. So because the red line is here, this actually becomes part of the 68% area. Do you get what I'm saying? Because of this red line now being there, because the daily expected move took you outside of it, it makes a lot more sense if you did close here, right? You're getting a hint of like, hey, we could actually see that close outside of a weekly expected move, and it would make sense before the day even starts, which is very nice. Was that able to clear anything up for you, Nat? I just want to make sure you're getting at that, but the best way to say it is, the best way I utilize it is I say, okay, if it's happening on a Friday and we have a zone like this, okay, then this is the most probable area to land by the end of the day. So if I see a move up above that, it's very likely we're going to end back in that zone. This is the most likely area. But as you read into it a little bit further too, you're going, this added some probabilities as well. So this might not be 32 anymore. This might more be like, if you wanted to say it had a bump up, it's something above 32 now. It's probably not a full 68, but for the week, but you would just say this would make sense. Yes, Richard, I did. You might have heard that little part in the video. Meta, waiting for something different. That was actually managed a few days ago. So Meta, I was finally tired of it, right? Once I saw this perfect touch pretty much of the 5, and I saw that curl up, I had to be out. I had to be out because I was like, if this were to wipe out the divergences now would be the time to do it, right? So weirdly enough, the last curl down is the best place to potentially take that position, right? These two cross downs were probably the best two little ones to take. But then you see that reaction off the 5. Once you see that, as you're by the center line, you're rejecting that crossover. You have to be very open to that can get violated. It's very close, right? So this didn't even touch that center line for the MACD. So I just said, okay, that crossed up. I'm out, and I'm glad it's that way. Now I would just be paying attention to if the 2-hour can cross down. Hey, Shane, thank you so much for the $5. Really appreciate that. Microsoft, you want to look at Microsoft again? We can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Microsoft looks pretty good. But now you actually have a great signal here. So the 2-hour, this will clear things up. So what I'd be looking for now is actually a 30-minute divergence next week. The first one. I think a simple 30-minute divergence here is all I'm looking for next week. Right? If this is going to fall, if it's not going to fall, it's just going to keep curling up. But if this is going to fall, we could see that pull down, curl up one more time, be very flat now. Be very flat. Give us that double top up towards 740, up towards 750. Give us some kind of divergence in this area. And now we have that 2-hour divergence behind it. Do you see how the setup has changed? Do you see how that setup has changed? So likely will end in the weekly, but also slightly higher chance to land above, and same goes for monthly. Yes, exactly. Nat, you caught it. You caught it. And if you need to write it down, I would genuinely be like writing, like if I was confused about something, writing it down. Just be like, you know, when the ranges move and they're within each other, well, where's the most likely thing to land? But just to clear up meta for the last bit here before I go into the next little tangent that, you know, my ADHD likes to do. Just check this out. Now you have a 2-hour divergence showing plain and simple on your chart. So if I see a 30-minute divergence now, wouldn't that want to curl down this 2-hour chart? And wouldn't I be confirming this? So shouldn't I be paying attention for 30-minute divergence? Does that make sense? Like, is everyone reading it into it how I am? Because that's how I would like to see it. And then if all that fails, well, then you just know, hey, I need to be reacting quickly. It's a pretty crazy market. So Shane, I want to get to that for you real quick. Shane wants to look at Microsoft. Wait, right? Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft again real quick. Hey, that's all right, Richard. And I had to get out of it. That's perfectly fine. You know, I knew it would be a risky one, so I kind of had to make my, this is when I'm getting out, and finally got me out. It shook me out of it. But if I see another 30-minute divergence, I might jump on that bandwagon. Okay, so for Microsoft, a bunch of rejection divergence, right? We keep saying this at the beginning. There is a bunch of rejection divergence. You can see that I mean, look at this RSI, guys. Like, look at that RSI. It looks great. This looks fantastic. This means that Microsoft is very likely to attempt to make an upward move on the daily scale. You potentially could see the daily turn up for Microsoft, right? There's all the good stuff. Here's the bad stuff. That hasn't happened yet. Here's the bad stuff. The stock market's at all-time highs again. Here's the bad stuff. Meta's reaching up to the sky. Here's the bad stuff. Nvidia just distributed to the downside and then is getting a retest of those areas. There's a lot of ways we could fail. We have to see if this stuff is positive throughout next week, and then we have to make sure there's no reversal signals by the end of the week. That's going to be very key. But Microsoft overall is saying upside is the likely thing. If anything bad happens, you might see that energy that's been building up here to maybe launch you higher on that daily scale to get back into the zone. If this 2-hour curls down, that energy that's been built up, if bad news hits the market in any way, can distribute to the downside. All right, that energy can be released to downside pressure, and you could end up at 393.20. So now you know the risk, and now you go, okay, what am I looking for? Well, as of right now, I think you're looking for, hey, I have a bunch of 30-minute divergences. They're really wonky. When do I pay attention? Well, one, when they're by the center line. They're by it right now. This potentially, you could have took a trade right here, and this could be seeing upside early this week, right? The trade setup was there. You held all the divergences on the 30-minute. It's all there. But if you're looking for a good confirmation, I think you're looking for the 2-hour to be able to cross through that 9 and confirm above the 5. And then you would say, okay, this has a good chance to maybe run to a weekly expected move like 415, 416. I think that would be great. So yeah, Shane, it's kind of like just understanding how everything else looks, but taking most into consideration what you're seeing in front of you for Microsoft right now alone, right? If you take everything away, all that other stuff about the SPY, the Qs, the risk of Nvidia, the risk of other things, Amazon having daily divergence, Bitcoin having weekly divergence to the upside and saying, hey, that could distribute down, but looks like it wants to make another move. You can take all those things away and just look at Microsoft chart. Because if you're good at managing risk, then you're pretty confident, like, hey, I'm taking a good position. You're pretty confident, hey, at least I waited for this 30-minute to curl up again and confirm the next divergence point, another potential, actually higher low, which is great. You've kind of started to be like, okay, maybe we're going to try in that direction. It confirmed. And then I can go, okay, I'm really good at managing risk. So if we reject here and I see that turn down, I know I have to be quick, right? If I just take into consideration Microsoft, it says 2-hour divergence, the daily is going to see a bounce. That's the most simple way to look at it. SPY pullback to 600. I saw that in the chat for a second. I actually really like that assessment. Remember that 600, if you watch the video over the weekend, I just put this line up and I was like, you know, what's the middle of all this crap? What's the middle of all this? And you notice that once we actually pinpoint that middle, it's a little bit above 600. But when we pinpoint where that's at, and we go, okay, that's like right here around 670. Okay, so what's the important level around that? 600. So I think that 600 is where the bears are in control if it's below, and the bulls are in control if it's above right now. And so I'm adding this for this week in case we see something crazy, and I want to see what happens. But you notice the bull or the bears are very hard. It's very hard for them to keep control. We keep gapping down, buyer step in, gapping down, buyer step in, go down to the line, buyer step in, go a little past the line, buyer step in. So you can see how that it seems the bulls do not want to lose 600. That's all I'm getting at. Baidu, that's right. We were going to look at Baidu as well. We're trying to look at a bunch of charts for you guys as fast as I can. I didn't like that at first. I don't think I mind it. Oh, this is. I don't like to do this. Actually, I really don't want to do it for this one, but I think this is going to be, yeah, the 4-hour. If the 4-hour confirms down, I think you'd be worried. I don't like 4-hour charts the most, so just take that with a little grain of salt, maybe. But if you wanted to, you can see all of this. And if this isn't enough to shoot you higher and you didn't make a big enough downward right shoulder, right? If this is a massive left shoulder, a massive head, and then you're going to make a massive right shoulder. You didn't do that. You took off. If that was too early, you could vomit and then end up turning right back up. So I think you really have to be careful with Baidu, though, and even doing technicals on it, just so you're aware, because you do have earnings on Tuesday morning. So anything can happen with Baidu on Tuesday morning. Yeah. Technicals probably won't save you or give you, if they're right, they're right. If they're wrong, still makes sense because it's earnings. So 50-50 flip on that one. Sorry about that, Varma. The better thing to do is still read into the signals, I think, but the best thing to do is realize, hey, there's an earnings there. I don't really have an edge. I'm not going to do this. That's what I say to myself when I'm about to take an earnings play. Nvidia, yeah, we can go look at Nvidia. Nvidia is very interesting because we stated down here, I mean, this is really cool when it happened. We were like, yeah, we remember when we go pull up the video even, we were like, yeah, you're doing this, but this could be some kind of cup and handle. This could be rejecting off the 5 right now. You need to take that back. If not, then that could be really, really bad. So what did we say you want to do here for it not to get really, really bad? You want to make a very quick 2-hour divergence, right? Remember what we said, you want to make a quick 2-hour divergence here. You don't want to keep falling. And what did it do? It made a very quick 2-hour divergence. Look at that. It made the scenario that we were paying attention to ended up happening. Were you paying attention? Because that crossed up and we've seen positivity. We even said if that does happen, I'm looking for that 135 retest, maybe going to 140, 112. And we're there. But the problem with this is the daily is still negative. The daily is still saying we could reject at any time. And you just got potential Wyckoff distribution. Like, honestly, like, I'm not a Wyckoff pro or anything, but yeah, that's a problem. So right now I would just say, okay, if the daily if this really crosses down on the daily, you're going to be at lower prices. We don't have a ton of implied volatility, so that would mean if the daily crosses, you're crossing through a weekly. You got to be really careful if that happens on the daily scale. Yeah, Varma, sorry I couldn't do a full thing about it. It's just with that earnings around the, like, you know, tomorrow, it's rough to give you a full assessment and then be like, yeah, all that could be BS. Shane, I'm glad that in your donation, you put any hope for turning around higher, because that at least tells me what you're looking at a little bit. Right? I like if you guys are, especially if you're going to give a donation, you know, you can say something in there that I'll really pay attention to. I'd like to see how you're talking about a stock before you ask about it, right? What are you seeing? Hey, can you check TLT? I think it's got that good 2-hour divergence, looking for the daily move. Right? Let's really be open with saying our thoughts. I think that's a perfectly fine thing, and saying, hey, what am I seeing? Because it can show you encouragement. Yeah, let's take a look at Lulu. So just to sum up Nvidia as well, just because I wanted to fully look at this for short and funny, because they're, you know, short and funny. We love short and funny people. My wife's only 4'11". The 30-minute is something I would have my eye on early on in the week, okay? Short and funny, I would have my eye on this. It looks like another moment like this could take place, but it could get worse than that. You're seeing the 30-minute divergence pop up. Here it was flat. Here, pretty flat, if not a little bit up. So that pullback to the 5 is great. And this is why we put this up on the course. So go look at the course to get this 5-day on your chart if you already have the course, all right? You know, you don't have to pay extra for it. Go get it on there. I think you will like it. And then if it doesn't help your trading, delete it off there, right? It's just an added thing to the course right now. So at this moment, you actually have the divergence showing on the MACD, on the RSI, at the same time. So this is a lot different if this curls down. If this curls down, it's starting to say, hey, a 2-hour could see a pullback. Now, why would I be worried about the 2-hour, and what were we saying? Actually, remember what we were saying we were going to pay attention to in this area? Remember what we said once we saw this positivity? Hey, what are we gonna pay attention to the upside? 2-hour divergence. What do you have right now if you would turn down? 2-hour divergence for Nvidia. Like, I just hope you're seeing that, because that is a signal. Now, it hasn't crossed down. Nothing about this is bearish yet. It's just forming. But you see how if that would confirm down, now you can curl down the daily scale, because you have that 2-hour divergence. I don't think it's the most likely thing in the world, but we'll see. I really don't. It can't be most likely going into Tuesday because everything's turned up, but if it turns down, things are going to shift very quickly. All right, let's go look at Lulu real quick. Lulu, first of all, awful move right now. Fantastic signal. Yeah, short and funny. I hope that was overall helpful. VIX is up? VIX shouldn't have opened today. Yeah, VIX should not have opened today. Why is it up 4%? Here, hold on. Hold on one sec. Sorry, I was really bad at clicking around there. It's up 4%? 4.5? It's retesting the 5 right now, if that's true. We'll see if that number changes. All right, let's go check out Lulu. Just keep an eye on it for me if you could. Thank you, CS, for bringing that up. Really appreciate it. Just make sure you're keeping an eye on it for me. So for Lulu, great divergence, right? Just a divergence, just a double top, a triple top. You know, potential for triple top here, right? You're seeing the rejection, right? I don't think that was a divergence, but guess what? It went and made the divergence point, and now you have it, and you go, oh, downside. Okay, awesome. Oh yeah, that's true. We can look at VIX futures too, by the way. So the daily scale here had the divergence. What does that mean? That means the daily's about to vomit. That means this trend might go negative. That means you might be going down to fill these gaps down in here, right, at lower prices. Right, so we want to see this. Did the weekly really follow that through? And I think it did here. And so if the weekly crosses, what are some points I can pay attention to in these type of areas? What are some things I could pay attention to? Well, where did we break out from to see this price get? Like, why see this price? That was like the worst English of my life. Where did we break out from to get us to these higher prices? Train your mind and subconscious to know what's next. It's actually true. Look within. We'll talk about the the chicken sexers again if we need to. Did anyone miss my rant about chicken sexers? All right, anyway, we'll look at it soon. But what really got us to this price? It was this breakout. It's very clear to see that breakout. So if we're going to hold up and not curl down the weekly, where would we like to react to and get that support from? Right there, 320. 320 would be great. If you can do that and see that bounce, that would be great. But you'd say, okay, if not 320, there's another breakout, 282. And then once you lose 282, you got to be saying, all right, we're probably going to lose this low and go make a new one. That's the thing. But it's very positive right now. So as of this moment, the daily scale is still by that center line. If it turned around for any reason, you just want to be aware of that. But you're breaking through these levels. So I think it's very likely you go and fill that gap. See if that daily turns around while it's close to the center line. If it doesn't, you might be heading lower. You might be heading down to, even 320 over the next couple of weeks. So I'd be just watching out for it. All right, guys, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. If you're here and you're not subscribed, subscribe so we can fill up that meter at the top of the screen, okay? I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes, all right? Be right back. And Dan, we can look at oil in a second. Sorry, guys. Talking about some stuff with wifey real quick. I gotta hit the gym today, you know? So we gotta look at a few more of these for you guys. Maybe we'll hang out for a little bit longer. But for Lulu, yeah, just be a little bit worried about the daily divergence. Know that that can continue. You're at a level where you might want to attempt to bounce from. But in order to be bullish again, you would have to whip back around this daily MACD while it's still positive. I think it's more likely to maybe catch a bounce, but you got to be aware of structure here as well. Look at EAT, please. Yeah, we can try to look at EAT in a second. Let me look at oil real quick. Then we might look at VIX futures. We gotta look at US oil first. Yeah, so right now you're looking for 4-hour divergence, and I think you got it. Yeah, you've definitely got some. Yeah, you've definitely got this 2-hour one. That's pretty damn significant. And you're trying to hold that floor. I'm just weirded out that like this point didn't hold the divergence. That's kind of crazy to me. So very interesting look. I still want to see if that 5-day could be taken back or anything like that. I mean, the easiest thing to do here is just go, okay, if that daily crosses up, we're going to see upside. Right, that's the easiest way. What's the positioning of the MACD? Okay, if I take a play on upside, I have to be, with the MACD being negative, I have to be open to a lower high. I think how this would like to build up, though, is I think you want to react to here. I think you want to get that reaction to here, see a little pullback like that, and then cross up, get some kind of structure in here, or some kind of build up, consolidate, and then break through. I think that would be the best for US oil. But you just have this 2-hour floor that could just bounce you up to here and then you're back at resistance. I'm really wanting the daily to confirm upside and then just be aware, like how aware of a lower high should I be? Just aware. I don't think it's like, oh yeah, this 100% will be a lower high. Oh, this will 90% be a lower high. I think it's just like, hey, you know, this is a little bit negative, so just be aware that that could, if it finds a 4-hour divergence or 2-hour divergence, just be open to that falling back down. Hopefully Dan was here. Hopefully Dan was here for that. If not, we can tell him to rewind. Something for EAT right now is, it looks crazy good. I will say that. My goodness, that looks insane. Ooh, there's one worrisome thing. But it's not on the MACD at the same time. So we see this MACD. You see that's just blatantly not there. But then we pull up the RSI. I just want to show you, if we look at this a little bit here, we're going, okay, is that overall? That's kind of a problem. And now you're seeing that start to go down. So I think this is where this is an issue and this could have more downside. Now, according to my MACD can help me out a lot, right? If I'm going to see people up here get completely trapped, or maybe they want to set another trap, well then this could just curl back up on a daily scale, do that one more time, and then I'm completely faked out, right? If this goes like that for a second longer, curls back up, then gives me the divergence on the MACD and RSI at the same time, that would be the one trap that I really could see here for, what is it, Brinker International. But what I would overall say is this could be bad right now, just based on those big daily divergences on the RSI. So I think overall downward from the crossover made the most sense. So right here, right, if we were talking about this a few days ago, we would say more downside. We probably would have started saying that right here around 172.42. Now we're down to 157. Holy crap. So I'd be watching it. I'd just be going, okay, if there's one more trap left in it, then the daily's going to cross up, and then watch out for divergence. If it's not a trap, then you won't see divergence there. But you do have a lot of weakness across the top here. And we already pulled it up and showed it's down. Yeah. So you got to be cautious with it. Looks like earnings was a good thing. So it's kind of weird for this to be doing that. So I'd really be looking if there's one more trap left in it. Don't mind it. That's right, VIX futures. What is it, VX1? No, no, no. I gotta do this. I'm a noob. Is this one it? Oh, it is VX1. What the fuck? VX1's not going to pop up VIX for me. Looks like it's moving as of right now. Oh, it's not moving. VIX futures aren't moving. Do you have one that's moving? I don't even see it. Was it moving this morning? No. Let me put you guys on the SPX 500 and I'll go search. That's weird. Oh, I gotta fix these. Let me fix these first and then we'll get into it. If you have a VIX, if you have a futures that's actually moving, I don't see it moving there though. I don't know if you guys have access to something. All right, let's see here. Downside move here is 6090.3. Technically it's 0.33, but oh my gosh, man. 6138. And it's gonna put it at 0.9. Okay. There we go. I don't see the VIX futures moving. Maybe someone else does. PayPal, forming cup and handle. I think we just went over this. I'm just forgetting. You're saying cup and handle. You're probably saying downside. You're probably, yeah. And this is where this is how bad this can get, right? We see this, then you see this. Kind of maybe mark off that little line right there at the low, and then go, okay, where do we bounce from? That area. Okay, so if this does this and then falls again, yeah, that's not going to be pretty. That's going to be very bad for PayPal if that happens, I think. So we'll keep that line there. I say right there. But yeah, I think that this has a very good probability to be a lower high, and the MACD is showing you that. So I'd be a little bit cautious. But if it turns up, it's positivity until it turns down, right? If something is curled up, we're not going to be negative, negative, negative on it. We're just being aware of the positioning of the MACD. Oh, I think it's possible. Oh, 100% possible. I think a correction before then would be nice. But if you're saying, you know, we'll look at futures for it. But if you're saying something like 7, I just want you to realize that is pretty high up, okay? And you've had a lot of messiness. But what you're looking for is what allowed us to get these big runs. Well, this correction allowed us to get these big runs, right? All of this build up, build up, build up allowed us to do that. And then we got those bigger corrective moves in there, and now we're in an area where we might need another one. But we are consolidating, so a big breakout could take place. I just don't think it goes to, I just don't think we're going to go to 7,000 right away. I think 6,200, 6,300 is a very easy assessment right now. I think 6,200, 6,300 makes a ton of sense for bullishness, right? But we're in an area where we're holding a bunch of reversal signals right now, right? We're forming them still. They haven't gone away. So that's all I'd be watching. Change over the month, or do they calculations stay relatively the same? The meta levels are getting crazy. They stay the same. But is meta outside of a monthly move? It's not. If it hits the weekly, it will. Exactly. That's why we're paying attention right now. My boy Samson. Ooh, Samson, I like it. That's the prayer. That's the hope. That's the love. That's the best thing that can happen is, man, I see this. Like, let's say that's a monthly expected move. I see that. And I know this week we have that monthly expected move there. And we get up to there. You know what I'm doing? Oh, I'm buying fucking puts, man. Like, with these daily signals and the potential 4-hour signals forming, I'd be like, yeah, I'm taking puts in this area. But the monthly move is not there. I don't want you guys thinking I'm telling you to do something. I'm never telling you to do something. I'm just talking about how I like to do things in decision making and what the charts are telling me. But that is not a monthly expected move. Just so you are aware, that is a fake line I put up to make a point. Yeah, very nice though. Pretty nice. Nice job. I mean, great stuff from the market, honestly. Pretty crazy stuff, right? We see those wicks. Pretty crazy stuff. But it was there. It was there. You guys know that yesterday was hell for me. I cleaned forever in here because, you know, we had that water break or whatever, that water leak. I had to organize the storage room. I had to clean everything. And now it's nice in here again. It's kind of echoey because there's nothing. It's just like me. I'm like, man, I need a couch. Who has a couch in their office? I want a couch in my office. That sounds sick. I used to have one in my old office. I used to have a couch, a TV. I had my whole gaming setup in my office back in the day. It was awesome. I'd be like, oh, this signal should take about 4 hours to confirm. So back when I was just trading and that's all I was doing, I was like, all right, let me just chill. I just play a game. BBAI? Yeah, of course. Let's go look at Big Bear. Remember Big Bear? We were worried about this one. Now, the big reason was why? Why, Luke? Why are you worried about this stock that you want? I want it to go up. Why are you worried about it now? Well, because this daily is starting to get to the point where this is a massive move. It's a great move. It's almost like a squeeze move. That's great. And hopefully it continues. But in order for that to continue, you have to keep seeing curl ups. Like Palantir. Remember Palantir was just like, oh, we're going up. No, we're going to pull back. We're going to, no, we curled up again. Oh, no, we're going to pull back. No, we curled up. Ah, no, seriously, we're going up. No, we curled back up. You know, that's what you kind of need to happen here. And I think you're seeing instances of that, right? Oh, we need to curl down. Nope, 5-day moving average. Ah, let's go sideways. Okay, we're up. Ah, sideways. Okay, let's go up. Ah, let's go test 5-day. Okay, we're going up, right? You need it to keep confirming. The problem is, look at all the weakness you've created now. And it's very significant, right? It's not super wonky and tight like Palantir or like Meta just doing this over and over again, right? It's pretty damn wavy, so I'd read into it. And I'd say that the 2-hour divergence is the big reason we were negative about this. But you notice this. Not terrible. Not terrible, right? It can still see that next breakout. Isn't that crazy? It can still see that next breakout. It's just showing that we're starting to get weak here. So even if we do like one more push, I think one more push might be all you have left, unless this starts to violate all the divergences up here, like we see a massive move. So I'm just worried about this because I think it's going to get a daily pullback. And that's what I think it is. I think it's daily pullback. You've just gone up pretty rapidly. This is probably not a stock that Wall Street or market makers are happy with going higher like this. I would just assume because it's cheap. So if that daily pulls back, you can go fill both of these gaps. You're hoping it just kind of moves sideways and then curls back up. But as of now, it's still squeezing. So if this 30-minute can turn up, positivity, right? The pressure here is not that bad. Though your signals are saying, let me see the most probable thing here. 2-hour divergence has confirmed. Daily has not confirmed down yet. So you want to be very aware if the 2-hour or even the 30-minute curls up. And then if the 30-minute does curl up and say give you that lower high or that next divergence point, and then you see that break through the 5 very cleanly, take out this low, that's probably what you're looking for now, is a violation of 850. Because you're just seeing we've never cut below these lows. So they're very nice, and I would use them as points. And if we see that upward move and then we break that low, I would say we're starting that downtrend. Right? Retest. Downtrend, downtrend. So yeah, if you're positive on it, you want to be bullish on it, you want it to keep going up. You just want this thing to keep curling up, and you don't want that low violated. Okay, you remember that? You good? We good? A little coffee for the next one, okay, Bernie? A little coffee for this one, because Tesla's a beast. Tesla's good. Like, I don't think this is awful for Tesla. It's getting to where we wanted it to. Remember up here? What were we saying up here? Yeah, I think this might have another move left in it, but if that drops through this triangle, then we could go make that potential, flagging out lower high. Okay, all that starts to happen. The main thing is when it was up here in this block, and we said that this triangle was going to, if it broke, right? We didn't say it was going to break. We're not genius. We're not psychics. We're like, if it breaks, we have to be ready to react because that could be bad. And it was bad right after. And then you get the gap down, then you get the retest, then you come down again, you try to make a higher low, you go up again, you fail. All right, so when you fail and you reject, then you head back down to where we were talking about. If you break this, you will eventually end up to 357.78 or this block in here, and you're in there. And if this daily can curl up, it's negative, so a lower high is still the most likely thing to pay attention to. If you don't want that to be a lower high, you better be making some good structure. And what that means is we want this 2 hour to see a nice big positive move. Thank you, Jefferson, for subscribing. We want this 2 hour to see that nice move, right? Maybe even take back something very important, right? Take back 382. Take that back, then use that to head higher. That would be great. The only problem is the 2 hour is still negative. So if that curls down, crosses back below this 5, you're taking out that low, you're making a new one. And if you start to lose 310, you can end up down to 270 very quickly. So you're in a rough spot, and I think Tesla is going to probably be able to work this out in some way and just continue to make those higher lows. That's what I really think will happen here, and I think the daily will confirm up. But you see how it's in a vulnerable spot now. If that 2 hour crosses, you take out this low, and you don't see that divergence really quickly, you could break below here, and then that would be a big flush. So what I'd be really looking for here is the 2 hour to take back 357. I, as a trader, might even not trust this move right now. We see the pathing of the move right now, and we're going, wow, that just looks like one little dropout, and it's bad. So what I would really like to see to be solidified here is at least this. I want to see a good 30-minute move and then a good 30-minute pullback. So I want to see a solid 30-minute move, maybe just like this one, right? Something like that. We see something like that from the low. We see that react up to where? 378. Great level to react to. We have some touches in that area, so 378, 380 would be nice. And then see that pullback to retest the 5. And this is where I think the safer trade is. That's where I think the safer trade is. You're getting confirmation like this could potentially be a safer one right now, but it's just I'm below that 357.78, and that was the level that I liked. So I don't want that to be resistance, and possibly resistance again. So I want to see that breakthrough, then curl down, curl back up. By this point here, the daily might curl up the next day. So that's what I would really like, and that's what I think is the best way to treat Tesla right now. The middle path is the way, and you can sway back and forth, right? We sway back and forth in those pendulums all the time, look within, right? Oh, we looked at Lulu, Llama Mama, just so you're aware. You might have to go back a little bit, but we looked at it almost right after, like a few minutes after you suggested it. 5 minutes later, I think. Yeah, trading like but you can do it, and you do it all the time without even realizing it, right? There are times where you put a little bit more risk out there, right? There's times where you spend more money. There's times where you save money, right? You're not willing to risk your money. You're willing to risk your money around Christmas time to buy those deals, to buy gifts for people, but you're not willing to buy them those same gifts on a random Tuesday in the middle of July if it's not their birthday. Because you're going, hey, there's no sale. Hey, there's no this. Hey, I could get a better price in a month or so. It's not their birthday. I don't have to get them anything. There's no reward, really, besides that random surprise. Moments like that are what you can really relay back to and be like, I'm trading like water all the time. You are. You're trading like water all day, every day. It's just do it with your actual trading. Everything in life is a trade. If I spend an hour on TikTok, I didn't spend an hour reading. I traded entertainment for the ability to learn. Maybe I'm learning on TikTok, right? Maybe that's the way I learn. I don't know, but I don't like TikTok. It's not my thing. You know, did I utilize my time this weekend to drink and party with friends and spend money? Because I can tell you, ever since I stopped doing that, I've had a lot more money. A lot more. Hey, Boat Life Adventures, thank you for subscribing. I see it's going to pop up in a second. If you have something you want to look at, Boat Life, I'm down. Maybe you have a boat stock we can look at. Maybe you have like some kind of harbor thing. I don't know. There it is. Thanks for joining us today, bud. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, that's the crazy part with markets. It's like lately it's like, oh yeah, I'm willing to take that. And then the next day's price action, I'm like, I don't know if I should hold on to this. That's how trade like water has really been throughout this, I would say the last couple of weeks here. We haven't looked at Boeing. Let's look at Boeing. Boeing 2-hour divergence. Yeah, 2-hour divergence. Not on the MAC, or not on the RSI at the same time, but still there on the MACD, and it made it after a few more divergences. So that's worrisome. This is good. I will say this is a good thing, right? Because we continue to go in that upward direction. That's great. If you continue to do that, you will keep going up, right? So this is where monthly, weekly expected moves, I would say monthly expected moves would really help, right? If we look, let's see, January 31st, we were right here at 176.45. So let's just say, you know, maybe this is not a monthly expected move, but that's why monthly expected move can help you. If you have a monthly expected move, say right here at a 6% move or something, that can be a good thing for you, because then you can see that 2-hour divergence actually touch that monthly expected move. So this is just a time where I'm just acknowledging and trying to show you, like, not having a data point like a monthly expected move, how different it can look to you, how much more you'll have to read into things. Whereas if we just had that, we're going, okay, the daily is very likely to confirm down now. What does the daily have? It has daily divergence. So I think this is bad for Boeing overall. If it can continue to be good, that's great, but I think it's starting to run into a lot of weakness. So it's going to want to violate divergences soon. So what I would say for the time being is we're still above the 5. Let's look at the 30-minute. The 30 minutes by the center line. So I think this thing crosses up one more time. I think this thing could go like this, and if it holds and makes that divergence point, I would say that might be a top for Boeing. I would say you're very likely running into a top in these areas of some sort. It could just be for, let's see, a daily. Nope, it has daily divergence, so this could be like a weekly thing. Right, the weekly turns down, that's a big problem. Oh, but look where we are. Remember when we were talking about this down here with the daily divergence and the weekly stuff going on, and we're just like, hey, where could we react to? Well, weirdly enough, it reacted to here, saw that little right shoulder almost. Right, it tried to do something here, but that's a big bulk of orders up in these areas. So even if you get that extension like that 30-minute can, it still would be very nice to pull back and then turn back up with earnings or something like that later on. Yeah, I just think you're going to run into at least some kind of pullback on the daily or weekly scale for Boeing soon. That's just my thoughts. The only way that I think that I'm seriously wrong about that is if it sees crazy good price action and then gets that retest of those levels and continues in the upward direction. That was a lot. I'm trying to go pretty deep into stuff today, if you noticed. I'm trying to really talk things through. They're expecting layoffs soon. So there you go. And that could be coming next week. I mean, who knows? Right? Boeing is always laying people off. We literally have Boeing in my city, and there's always strikes and this and that and layoffs and this, like once or twice a year, I feel like. But it's like, I don't want to read into the news. I want to see if it's proven in the charts. And as of right now, it's kind of proven in the charts, but you could see that one more move up to really fake you out. Let me go back to future. All right, so upwards so far. Interesting. Let's look at Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's a great hint here. Notice the daily is rejecting. This is very bad. This is the opposite of what I wanted to see for positivity coming in this week. This is why I was mentioning over the weekend, There are some things out there that still say this could be a wild trap. It would be a wild one. You're not seeing things the clearest, but this would be like the shift wild one where yields really start to drop quickly and people price in recession. Like this could be interesting. But if Bitcoin does not confirm up this daily chart this week, I think it's in a lot of freaking trouble. I'm just being genuine about that because you have weekly signals above you that, you know, it doesn't look like it's all the worst thing in the world on the MACD, but you pull up that RSI and you just go, man, that's a pretty significant divergence. Man, that could need to pull back. Man, that could need to pull back further, right? Let's pull up a fib, you know? Let's pull up a fib or something. Where could that pull back to? Ooh, the breakout area? 70.5K. But the problem is you haven't lost 91.8K yet, so you still have that chance to turn up on a daily chart, but you do have divergence on the weekly scale. So that's why I want Bitcoin to turn up this week. If it doesn't turn up this week, I'm going to be worried about it. Yes, QQQ Miro or Miro. It does have QQQ and the SPY both have weekly divergence on MACD. They could go up for one more push. That's a big W. I mean, or is it an M? This is called the MIC. Nope. MIC BTC, the MIC Bitcoin. Oh God. Thoughts on Domino's pizza? I don't think it's bad. If I'm gonna get pizza, I'm getting Domino's. You know? Buffett likes DPZ. I did see, I think it was someone mentioned that earlier. Who was it? Jenseb D Wall. Oh, there you go. And you asked about Domino's Pizza, and I think Domino's Pizza is just what I would choose. But we have a like a chain or a franchise from New York that we go to now because my wife's from New York. She hates our pizza here. She hates it, even though Pizza Hut was started here. But yeah, so there's a place that kind of has like almost New York level of pizza, and she's like, this is what pizza tastes like, and I was like, holy shit, it actually is like really different. Yeah, what's the ticker real quick? But let's look at DPZ. Papa John's poops on it. You just like that butter sauce, don't you? M for murder. Watch The Traitors. I've been watching The Traitors. Oh, it's fun. You know I love psychology. What is it, DPZ? DPZ. Oh, it's freaking Domino's. You guys. You know I don't know every ticker in the world. Come on now. No. Oh, crap. God damn it. Of course it's going to be one that looks like this. There's a few things. All right. There's a few pretty obvious things, I would say. What is this? Used to be potential support, breakthrough, good move, support, right? Hey, we gap below it. So it's probably an important area. Resistance maybe. So if the daily's going to pull back here, you got earnings, so you got to be freaking careful with that, right? This could go either way with earnings. Retail sales did get a bad number, so this will be interesting. And consumer sentiment was a little lower. The 2-hour chart here does show divergence, but you have earnings. Anything can happen with earnings next week. So if this wants to play out before then, you do have some time. This means that the setup is saying downside is the most likely thing this week for Domino's. Oh, I know. Pizza Hut's trash now. I think Pizza Hut's garbage now. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I like Papa John's too. Don't get me wrong. I just go to Domino's. Yeah, gents, I hope you're seeing that. I mean, I just see some very simple 2-hour divergence. I mean, you could always go make the next push higher, right? This could still have some crazy things left in it, but on the 30-minute, you held the main divergence point almost every single time. Just lost this one. So And those produce their pullbacks, right? These divergences are producing those pullbacks. Now they're getting tighter a little bit here. So you could see 30-minute move up. It's still positive. But overall, the 2 hour is saying like, yeah, we're going to pull back here. But it's just, will all of that pullback be before earnings? Are we going to get excited before earnings? It's around earnings. So it's always just like, it's a little bit. Oh yeah, I guess we could look at the ES. What are you saying? Nice symmetrical triangle on the ES hourly chart. Yeah, looking for that break. Looks like it's trying to. That's all I would say right now. Just seeing if that can break to the upside. And then I'm like, man, but what if that's a quick move? I kind of want it to be... Actually, I don't think you're going to make a divergence here. It's really tight, so making a divergence here wouldn't really make the most sense. Maybe you see that big upward move. Who knows? The crazy part is, because it's Monday and the market's not really open, you could see this go up like this and then just tank by the time, like we could still open up right here. The psychology of an 85K move on Bitcoin would be hilarious. For Bitcoin, this is crazy for Bitcoin. I just want you to understand how bad this can get and why I'm very serious about it. Bro, you go down to 70K and it makes sense. 70K makes a lot of sense. Anywhere in here makes a lot of sense, but 70K I think makes a ton of sense. And it's like, imagine people who are super ecstatic about things. Imagine MSTR if Bitcoin goes like that, 28% drop. Oh my goodness, MSTR, you would be not happy. It's in weekly pullback mode. The daily confirmed the lower high, but you're not able to beat the low just yet. So you're really hoping that Bitcoin and MSTR do this week to take out these type of levels. If they don't do that, they're doing that, and that's a big problem. Well, that's it, Dave, and I think we utilize that. I think that gets utilized to shift their mentality. Right, that's why I'm like, a squeeze higher is the most probable thing. Like, just very clearly, for the SPY and the Qs, a squeeze higher is the most probable thing. That's what I think. But I'm saying it might be quick and then end up just falling. And I'm aware of the risk that this thing could just turn down. So it's just rough. Michael Saylor will be hitting the food bank. He'll be hitting the... No, he won't. He'll never hit the food bank, Feng Liu. He'll never. Why? Because he's always taking investors' money. It's the investors who end up hitting the food bank. After Enron, the dude's back, right? So after Enron, would you expect that dude to be back? No, you'd be like, he's hitting the food bank. Do you think he hit the food bank and became rich again and then did the whole MS? No, they did what all these people do. They screw over the investors at the end. My buddy lost 25K this year shorting MSTR. Oh, I think it's just a dumb one to trade. Okay, so if anything, MSTR, the smart time to trade this was actually probably down in here, right before the real big Bitcoin announcements, right before all that stuff. But it's when he was talking a lot was down in here. And then you got this simple little thing on the daily and then it curled up. That was the time where you're like, okay, well, if he's going to manipulate people and con people, then this would be the time that it just skyrockets with his manipulation. He's been manipulating this whole time, people on podcasts and all kinds of things. Then you see it break something. You go, all right, let's see if that sees a surge. Bam, that's it. Now you're kind of waiting. I think if you see the daily curl up here, I think you have a good shot. FTX repayments start tomorrow. What does that affect, Pirate Cartman? Do you know? Or is it just repayments to the investors? Because FTX was such a big, massive scam. The crazy part is I can't believe that like 90% of financial YouTubers were all pushing FTX. Like, isn't that crazy? It's like, do people just not vet their sponsors at all? I haven't even taken a sponsorship because I vet them so hard. I'm just like, I just can't do it. I'm always like, I can't do it. Let me see here real quick. What is this? No, I don't think that's really anything. All right. Yeah, it's very likely to continue in this move. We see a daily confirmed up. Nothing is confirmed down, so you should be leaning towards bullishness on the SPY. Great morning, can't get right. How's it going? 600 million will trickle back into the market from FTX loss. Will trickle back into the market. Into what market, though? I gotta look at this. Beginning repaying its creditors in 2025. Distributed process. Okay, so this plan involves selling off FTX's assets and distributing the proceeds to those who are owed money. Let's see real quick. Okay, so it acts like it's going to potentially give money back to individuals and or institutions who had deposited cryptocurrency or cash on the FTX exchange for trading or holding. It includes the various entities who provide services or loans to FTX. So even their loan, whoever they got their loan from, look like they might get a payback. Any companies that invested in FTX and venture capital firms. So it pretty much looks like institutional investors will potentially receive some kind of payment back. Lenders will receive some kind of payment back, and vendors will receive some kind of payment back. With at the end of it, customers and creditors and employees also. So it looks like there is roughly, at least the number that I have is about, what is it? It just says to me billions of dollars. Is it 600? Anyway, yeah. %90 are just as dumb as new retail. Bro, I've been seeing a lot of videos on, there's some people really going after Meet Kevin. I don't know if you've seen some of these videos. I'm like, man, they are just going at him. Like, it's pretty crazy. I'm like, pretty justified, but pretty crazy. 600 million, okay. It says billions of dollars over here, but it's not giving me a hard number. Nice guy here. So you think the SPY will be at 600 or 650 this week? It won't be at 650. A test of 600 would make the most sense out of the numbers that you threw out. But I think you are very likely to see the SPY get to 620 or 630, and then we might run into problems. But I just, want to reiterate this weekend's topics and just say, we do have things that can shake up the market right away. And that's why I said I'm going to be paying attention to Bitcoin. And the fact that Bitcoin's not able to confirm up on its daily yet is very worrisome going into this week, in my opinion. I mean, 615. Okay, good. Can't get right was like, hey, we go into like 600, okay, like, what, not even a percent down? Is that potentially what 600 is? I guess it's 1.5%. It's like, hey, we going down to here? You think we're going down to right here, 1.5%? Or do you think we're going or do you think we're going to here? Six. I was like, that's a big ass range, dude. Revaluation. Well, the interesting thing, did anyone see how they're apparently going to go check the gold reserves? Did anyone see that? Get good vibes from you. Hey, that's good. Look within. I get good vibes from you. If I ever put out bad vibes, I might just not have had my morning coffee, you know? But yeah, they're apparently going to look into like, hey, do we have that gold? They're giving people to run around on gold claims from paper receipts. The crazy part for me is what happens to the value of the dollar if we have no gold in there? Like, are we just, since we're not a gold standard, does that just not correlate at all? Like, I'm wondering. If the gold isn't there, you know, they wouldn't tell anyone. That was my first thought when me and my wife were watching something on it. Let's see here. Netflix can and has kept going, even with that pullback that we did receive. Netflix, very, very good. Because Netflix was a lot of one of those running ones, almost like a Meta or something, right? But what popped up for Netflix was 2-hour divergence, and that's where 2-hour divergence just helps you out a little bit more. So you'll notice that towards these tops in here, you actually made that triple divergence on the MACD and RSI, and it held every point. And that's when you really started to pull back. So now you're like, am I making those points now? Well, you, instead of making that downside move, you've then whipped back around. So once you curl back up and you break through this high, it means upside is there. You're still holding a multiple point almost divergence. So if that 2-hour crosses, you want to treat it seriously, but I think it's very complicated to trade. I think the daily scale is more what I'd be watching. And if that crossed down, I would say, okay, we're probably ending up down towards 850 over the next couple of months. I actually think Netflix is going to vomit soon. As the consumer gets weaker, as credit card debt goes higher and higher, as unemployment starts to surge, people will cut things that are completely not necessary, and Netflix is completely not necessary. Right? You might see people start to share with their neighbors their passwords and things like that. So maybe they're under the same thing, right? Maybe they get the 2-household deal or something. So I think that their revenues won't be the best. We don't have the gold. So, but here's the thing. Is this an easy short? I mean, this is one of the most bullish things we've seen ever, right? Like really look at this from 2022 low all the way to the high, and you're just going, alrighty. I mean, it's very hard to try to bet against something like that, because you'll notice that we've kept all these points the whole time, and now you're going parabolic. Like, this is parabolic. If you're already going in this direction, and then you start to go in this direction, that's parabolic. So it's very, very sketchy. And if I was looking at this now, I'd say now's probably the proper time to do like a 3-month out position or something. But I just can't push myself to do it at this point. I just really want to stick on the SPY and the Qs. That's the main thing I'm doing right now. I'm just sticking on the SPY and the Qs, figuring out the direction of the overall market, and then that's the thing I've mostly been trading. I've dabbled in Meta. I still might dabble in Meta again. Dabbled with TLT a little bit over the last couple of weeks, and they've worked out. But something like Netflix is that's just a monster, and it's going to be very hard to call a top there. Yeah, see, Dave's kind of saying what my brain's been doing. Dave's kind of saying, I won't short any individual stocks until I feel overall market has topped. Then you go ahead and short these stocks that have gone parabolic. And I think that's the good thing to look at, is what is the actual market doing? Market will give you the overall direction of stocks in general in that category. So for the Qs, right? If we see this turn down like right away on Tuesday, what are you looking at? Well, you potentially have that flat divergence again, a double top. And if that would fall down, that would be a bad thing. And then I can go look at Netflix, and then I can go look at Meta, and then I can go look at these other things. And I think that's a very good thing to put out there. But we're going to need to see that price action first. ATT? It's just A, isn't it? I thought it was just A. Oh, god dang it. I don't know the ticker. I had it on my other thing here. What is AT&T, the ticker? Just, I might be being dumb, but there's a lot of tickers out there, and I know I have it on my, I think I have AT&T on, oh, it's just T, not just A. Okay. This one here, I believe, did they used to? I thought they used to give out a, okay, they do have a dividend. Okay, I was just double checking. I was like, what the hell? They don't have the dividend? Let's not do that. Let's look for the percentage on the dividend. I don't remember. I just know this is in my dividend portfolio. 429. I think a lot of people are worried about Verizon right now. I might go look at that in a second, but the yield 4.29%, not bad. What's going on with this bad boy? Okay, earnings not for a bit, so that's good. Huge move on the daily chart, right? So what am I overall looking for? Well, a daily pullback would be the best, right? Don't you kind of hope something like this happens? You wait for a while, then it just curls up and you go, awesome, I'm bullish, right? That's kind of what you're hoping. Now the 2 hour is showing potential flat divergence on the RSI and downward divergence on the MACD. So this would tell me that that daily pullback might be coming soon. If that's going to fail because this MACD is up higher, then that 2 hour might not be able to cross that daily, and we might see another moment kind of like this one where you curl back up, right? And then I'd be watching for those divergences piling up, see if they can get close to that center line, and then making a decision. But AT&T, I think for the most part here, you do have 2 hour divergence and you could experience that daily pullback sometime soon. It's hard to say exactly when that would be, but I would say sooner rather than later. So if I wanted to give a general expectation, I would say in the next month, we're probably going to see a daily pullback. Thanks for saying thank you, Joe. I knew it was just like one letter. I was like, I know it's one letter. Oh, if you hear squealing, Bruce is dreaming right now. Do you hear that? Do you hear it? You guys hear that? My pit bull's kind of going, woof, woof. All right, let's look here. Look at Palantir's. I don't want to look at Palantir's PE, bro. What is it, 500? What is it, 500? BX, let's go check that out real quick. Blackstone, oh yeah, we gotta look at Blackstone. Fucking Blackstone, dude. On the daily chart, overall, this was the fake out. I think this was the fake out. The cup, the handle that broke, and then it just bought back up. Now, were you someone, if you were trading this, were you paying attention here? Because do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? Wait for that divergence to pop up sometimes, man. Wait for that divergence. It's good stuff. Divergence, daily cross up. What happened? Daily crossed up. Great move. You're going to have to get good at this in a bear market, guys. I'm telling you, go take that course again, right? If you already bought it during the sale over January, the New Year, New Me sale, go take it again. We have that 5-day moving average video up for you on there as well. Yeah, it's not the best sign. Now, if you look at the 2 hour here as well, you get that flat top. You almost get the double top as well. You pretty much get it. And then bad things happen. Notice that 2 hour divergence to go up. 2 hour divergence, potentially, right? You might even say still high or low. You would say double top to go down, but still, you could read into that. Go down. Confirmed, right? Right there. Confirmation was better on this bar, weirdly enough. Move sideways, gap down. You keep going. No divergence there really right now. Not seeing it on the MACD, not seeing it on the RSI either. So this could be, hey, if this wants to build up over time, you need to see a strong move. We're doing some interesting things in here, right? If we look at the 30-minute, you're going, okay, Okay, can we take back that 5-day moving average now, right? That's what you're really looking for. So 2 hour, you're going to need that to get all the way up to probably 177.80, then see this to see it continue. That would be how it remains very, very bullish in my opinion. If this is going to break down, then you're probably going to see something not as good and more lackluster, which the buying pressure here, not bad, but something lackluster like this, where it just kind of pops up for a second and then just drops down. You see that 2 hour finally make that divergence. And that's when I think that's a better thing, right? It showed up last time, showed up for the downfall. So why can't it show up again? And I think that's just what I'd be looking for. If the daily confirms up, then you have a daily swing trade. I wouldn't call that divergence, but I would say this is still above the 200. We've held up in this area before. I'm going to see if this can make the next move higher. Yes, lower high was the more probable thing here. What's probable here? Still a lower high, okay? But if we take out this level on this move, that would be a great thing. Because this all could be some type of flagging. Weekly, actually weekly, did that cross down? Okay, weekly's crossed down as well. So if weekly crossed up, I'd feel pretty good about testing the high, going to make a new one above 200. Having tariff nightmares. Well, you potentially should, right? The word of the year is confusion. The way that tariffs are going right now, it could take a couple of years to really figure out. That's why it'll be confusing time. But the way they're getting figured out right now, I don't think they're really too bad. I don't think they're too bad. I think people are reading into them like they can cause inflation for, inflation to increase every year for like 10 years. And that's just crazy to me because that's not how it works. You don't have it's not like your taxable income. Right? It's not like if you own a business and you pay employees and then pay yourself and then pay taxes and then pay corporate tax as well and pay sales tax. There's a million ways to pay taxes when you own a business, but it's a lot different. Yeah, it's a lot different. Yeah, it's not like taxes, right? If you spend $1, that $1 is not getting taxed a million times because of a tariff. If you spend $1, then that dollar is getting to get tariffed by whatever that percentage increase was, and then that's it. It won't continue. They cause a spike of inflation initially, but they do not. That's more transitory than what they told you in the past. Let's put it that way. That's more transitory than anything they told you in the past. The thing that you need to be worried about is inflation across the board going up for different reasons, I would say. Inflation going up because of war, things like that, maybe. Or government spending, which they're cutting down on government spending. So, yeah, I don't think it's bad. So you asked about the Qs. Yeah, I'll give you the levels for the Qs if you'd like them. Everything's curled up, so we should say positivity, positivity, positivity. Volume kind of trailing down, so we could see a pullback early on in the week. If it's going to be a trap right away, we're going to see dailies confirm down, and it's going to get ugly really fast. We have low implied volatility this week, too. But usually on these like low volume weeks where you're missing a day and you just started to squeeze, usually you just see that thing get like one little pullback and then extend the whole time. All my friends are panicking going back to the office. Why? Why? If I knew, here's the thing, like, I've never panicked at a job unless I knew I was doing a bad job. I've never panicked at a job unless I was being lazy. I'll tell you guys a story. Here, I'll tell you about my first sales job when I think I was 18 or 19 years old. I got a big sales job at a golf store, right? So I did this thing and I noticed, I was like, yeah, I only, they want me to show up an hour before we actually open to set stuff up. It only takes me 20 minutes to do it. So I'm just going to show up, you know, I'm just going to be late every day for 30 minutes. I was 19, 20, or 18 years old, 19. And so I was like, yeah, I'll just be late and get my shit done. Like, I don't get the big deal. Well, after a couple of months, my boss started to pull up numbers, and he just was like, hey, you are performing pretty good. He's like, you're increasing our soccer store sales, which is why you were hired. And I was like, oh, awesome. That's great. He's like, you've increased them by thousands of %, actually. He's like, you're actually very good at selling soccer equipment. I'm like, that's great. He goes, but I want you to look at your golf numbers and tell me that those can't be better. And I go, oh, they can. And he goes, and he had everyone there, and he was doing this in front of everyone. And he just goes, and I wanted to talk about everyone because everyone seems to have this almost lackluster, customers have to come in and I have to take care of this, and customers are sometimes annoying in this. He's just like, let's just hold ourselves to a better standard. Luke, everyone else is showing up at this time and you're not. At the end of the day, we're a team, and we got to, you know, sell stuff to people and sell them something that they can really utilize and love. He's like, so get here an hour early, take it very seriously. And I'm like, all right, you called me out on it, I'm going to change. So it's kind of just like, there are times where you're doing something completely wrong and you need to fix it. And it's not necessarily something that's absurdly wrong or something like that. It's more just like something little, like, hey, you're disrespecting your own potential. Yeah, I kind of respected going into work more after that. And I wasn't worried that I was doing something really wrong, but he was correcting me on something I was doing wrong. And I think it really ended up helping me, and I made more money because of it. Because what did I do with that extra time in the morning? I studied golf equipment for 30 minutes every single day. I actually did something pretty interesting. I know this is pretty much a rant right now, but I did something interesting, which was I studied the easiest to swing but the most expensive driver. And I noticed that most of our clients, and this is where I think I just had a knack for marketing, but I just was watching and I noticed that most of our clients that come in are above the age of 50, and they have some kind of problem with movement a lot of the time, like something small. So I said, what's the easiest one to swing? What's the furthest that it can get? And what's like just people who are at this age range really comfortable with? All right, cool. So I sold a Cobra driver to every single person that I worked with, and every single person was happy because I knew that that select person was going to benefit from that driver. Pretty cool. That was super random, but the overall statement was just like, hey, going into work, if I'm feeling nervous about work in any way, then I'm doing something wrong. The only time that I was a little bit nervous was in that meeting when I was showing up late by 20 to 30 minutes every single day because I didn't think it meant anything. But then I realized that by coming with that extra time, I could utilize that time to learn more and then make more money. Pretty cool. I ain't scared. Come at me. All right, that Q's is boring. Q's, yeah, everything's pointing in the upward direction. I'll keep my eye on Bitcoin, but I think it's time I gotta go. So it's about time to take off. Baby girl's about to wake up, and we're gonna go get some nice food, right? We're gonna take it like a day off. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys were coming in. I think we got some good learning. We didn't get the 20 subs, but that's unfortunate. Maybe we'll leave that up for tomorrow's stream. But I do appreciate you guys being here today. I appreciate the subs that did subscribe to us today. Please watch some videos, right? We put out 2 videos over the weekend if you guys want to check those out. But thank you guys so much for joining today. I know it's a day off, but you guys know I like to come and say hi to you. So I hope you guys have a fantastic one. Treat yourself a little bit today. Get geared up with a good workout, some good food. Treat your body really well today so your brain can function well tomorrow. Even though it's a shortened trading week, I think there are some things we need to be aware of, even though this is most likely to end up in the upward direction. All right, guys, have a good one. Say hi to the fam for me. I hope you guys are doing well. Peace out.